Revolution 2, the parables. The parable of the landowner. This parable is found in Thomas, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. In the 2000 movie K-Pax, Kevin Spacey plays Prode, an alien visiting Earth who talks openly about his native home. When asked about capital punishment on his planet, Prode responds, "You humans, most of you, believe in an eye for an eye, a life for a life, which is known throughout the galaxy for its stupidity. Even your Buddha and your Christ had very different ideas, but no one has paid much attention to them, not even the Buddhists or the Christians. No one has paid much attention to them." Despite its fictional origins, I find this statement sadly true. We profess such loyalty toward these religious figures, but often ignore, warp, or dismiss their teachings altogether. This rejection is the central message from Jesus' parable of the landowner. This story is applicable today in principle as it was in first century Palestine. The tale most likely evolved with the Christian tradition into a symbolic story. Mark, Luke, and Matthew recount allegorical tales in which God seemingly symbolizes the owner, prophets represent the servants, the Jewish religious leaders stand for the tenants, the vineyard symbolizes Jerusalem, and Jesus, of course, plays the role of the son, who in the synoptic gospel accounts is killed just outside the vineyard. Meanwhile, Thomas's account, believed by most scholars to be written first, did not include such imagery. It's quite possible that the synoptic gospel seemingly took a more authentic version from Thomas and applied symbols that bear the mark of the early Christian movement. With that in mind, Thomas's version seems to be the most genuine, and that version is this. He said, "A good man had a vineyard that he arranged for tenant farmers to take care of for him in return for a portion of the produce. He sent a servant to collect the grapes. Tenants seized the servant and beat him nearly to death. That servant reported back to his master, but his master responded, perhaps they did not recognize him, and so he sent another servant. The tenants beat him too. Then the owner sent his own son, saying, perhaps they will show some respect for my son. Since the tenants were aware that they would inherit the vineyard, they seized him and then killed him." Thomas 65, 1-7. The tenants rejected the servants and eventually the son, along with a message from the owner, a call of collection for the produce that was rightfully his. Instead of turning over the crop's yield, the vine dressers brutally beat the servants sent by the owner. The owner, erroneously thinking that the tenants would respect the son, then sends his own flesh to collect. The tenants proceed to kill him. Evidently, the vine dressers rejected those sent by the owner in order to maintain control of the vineyard. Now, they knew the fruit they were yielding was not their own, yet, as long as they maintained a firm grip on the property while the owner was away, they could do just about anything they desired. Little else mattered. Not the waves of messengers, not even the sun. Many believe that the parable in its more genuine form is one told without a symbolic presence and simply marks the tragedy with no real conclusion. The story is certainly tragic, but I maintain there is a point. The parable runs parallel to our own human existence. The ideas center on a group who dwells and works in a vineyard that is not their own, just as we are living in a world that is not of our making. We, as humans, are incapable of possession, of owning the vineyard. We too live in this world without possession, clearly to exist as the workers did, not to possess the land, but to be its lifeblood. We have a responsibility, but have been rejecting that role, treating such messages violently. Perhaps this is because we simply do not see this world as the kingdom of God and as a present happening reality as Jesus taught. Rather, we try to own this world, collectively as nations or individually, a goal that is as fruitless as the tenants who tried to stake ownership in the vineyard. Jesus would still be telling us this story today. The only difference is today's tenants are much savvier. Returning to the synoptics gospel symbolism, the vine dressers of today seem to revere the son. They bring him into the vineyard, proceed to tell everyone how great he is, and then promptly lock him in a box and throw away the key. Oh, sure, they never hesitate to tell anyone who will listen how much they love the son and the owner. Yet the son had a message, which is often distorted, glossed over, or blatantly disregarded. As such, today's vine dressers continue to reject the son as well as the owner, whose banner they so proudly wave. For the rest of this parable, send an email to info@thecompassionrevolution.net